Coming up on the Relatable Christian.
To things of the past, this boyfriend of the past, when I already have a better person for you? Why are you holding on these situations of the past? This marriage did not work out when I have a new marriage for you. Why are you holding on to this job of the past when I have a new career for you? Why are you stuck in the past when I have so many abundant blessings and other things in the future for you? Why?
Every day is the day that it's time to make a change from the things that aren't serving your life. Just try to walk away, take the power from the pain and keep praying for the day. Come on and talk about it.
I know that things are hard. I know that life can get hard, but trust me, like if you are able to get through it, everything turns out fine in the end.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Relatable Christian, and I am your host, Dr. Sophia Reed. And what we're going to be talking about today is leave your past behind you. Don't look back and move forward. If you are new here, then welcome. If you are a returning visitor, then welcome back. I'm glad you like the show so much that you decided to come back. So, why did I decide to talk about this? Because a lot of people, a whole lot of people want to stay stuck in the past. It doesn't matter if, I want to stay stuck in this past relationship, what people did to me, what my parents did to me, what my family did to me, anything that has happened in the past, people tend to want to stay stuck there. But the fact of the matter is no matter what has happened to you in the past, you cannot change it. The past is the past. It is over and done. There is no time machine. There is not anything that you can do on God's green earth that can change what has happened to you in the past. And if you refuse to move on, if you decide to stay stuck, then that is exactly where you will be. You're going to stay stuck. You're going to miss out on the abundant blessings that the future has for you because you are so stuck and stubborn and you want to stay in something that is not good for you. We all have situations and things that has happened to us that we cannot help. Nobody is exempt from this one thing. So to think that because blah, 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 blah has happened to you, that this prevents you from having an abundant, a happy, a prosperous, a family, a good relationship, can be a little bit delusional on your part because literally you are the one that is keeping God from blessing you, in other words, because God is like, yeah, we all have hardships. Yes, this sucks. This is not to minimize what you have gone through, but understand if you cannot accept the things that you cannot change, literally that is what that means. I accept the past because I cannot change the past no matter how much I fester on it, then that is literally what is keeping me from moving forward. So let's go ahead and get into some Bible verses, shall we? First, I want to go to Isaiah 43, 18, 19. And it says, "Do not remember the former things or ponder on the things of the past. Listen carefully. I'm about to do a new thing. Now it will spring forth. Will you not be aware of it?" So what is he talking about? It's like God could want to be doing a new thing in your life and bring a bunch of blessings in your life, but your mind is too consumed and you're not aware of it simply because you are pondering and festering of things of the past that you just simply cannot get over. And as somebody in the mental health professional field, I have seen people spend 10, 15, 20, 30 years stuck on something that has happened on them from childhood, and this has kept them from living their life. Why would you put yourself in this emotional or mental turmoil when really it is an optional, meaning that this is something that you're choosing to do? You are choosing it, choice, instead of just accepting it and dealing with it and saying, all right, God, this is what happened. Let me go ahead and allow you to do a new thing. So let's go ahead and get into a second Bible verse.
The Relatable Christian will be right back after this short commercial break. Are you tired of being stuck in the same place day after day, month after month, year after year, and you just don't know how to make your life better, level up your life, or glow up your life? Do you want to write a book, start a business, or you just don't know how to take the next steps? Hi, I am Dr. Sophia Reed, and I know what that's like. Just like it says in Philippians 4:12, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. And I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. Despite popular belief, God does want you to have the life that you desire. But the secret to that is to also have contentment and to know that to whom much is given, much is required. If you join my Patreon for only $5 a month, I give self-improvement tips on how to level up your life, how to help you reach goals, how to start an online business, how to write a book. Whatever goals you have for yourself, I can definitely help you get there. So, join today.
And this one comes from Samuel 16:1. But let me just give you a brief overview as to what is going on before I read the Bible first. So Samuel anointed Saul as king, and Saul turned it out to be a disgrace as king, and God decided to anoint a new king. And here's what happened. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long will you grieve for Saul, when I have rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and go. I will send you Jesse to Bethlehemite, for I have chosen a king for myself among his sons." But Samuel said, "How can I go? When Saul hears about it, he will kill me." And the Lord said, "Take a heifer with you and herd and say, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord." So there are a few points here because first of all, Samuel was mourning over what was already lost. And if we know the story, the person that the Lord had anointed as the new king was David, and David was a great king. So it's like, why are we holding on to things of the past, this boyfriend of the past, when I already have a better person for you? Why are you holding on these situations of the past? This marriage did not work out when I have a new marriage for you. Why are you holding on to this job of the past when I have a new career for you? Why are you stuck in the past when I have so many abundant blessings and other things in the future for you? Why? I have already went before you because I am God. I am already in tomorrow. I have already orchestrated these wonderful events and these blessings are waiting for you to take hold of them. But instead, just like Samuel, what are you stuck in? Mourning? Being sad over what was lost, even though it's lost, there's no regaining it. God has moved on, and so should you because he already has something new. And fear. Samuel is sitting up here talking about, I'm scared. You scared after God just told you, not only have I anointed a new king and I am telling you to go, but you scared of a man? So now I'm scared of what has happened to me in the past. I am scared to love again. I am scared because this person hurt me. I am scared that my parents damaged me and now I cannot have a successful life, career, relationship, marriage because of what has happened. So you are allowing fear to hold you back. And most importantly, you are telling yourself that fear is doing more for you than what God is doing for you. Because really, what are you going to trust? You're going to trust God that says, I want to give to you? Or are you going to trust fear? Or are you going to trust sadness? Or are you going to trust these emotions that we know specifically God does not want for us? And really, it really is your choice. And so in this particular instance, can you imagine if Samuel would have sat there and laid on the ground, mourning forever, and then he would have sat there and died? We would have never known David. We would have never seen a man after God's own heart. We would have never got to know that different individual simply because Samuel could not get over the fact that Saul was not a good king anyway. He couldn't get over it. A lot of the times we mourn what is in the past and we look back on something that was not good for us anyway. We long for something that should have been out of our lives and something that God is trying to pull from our lives anyway. And we want to fester on something that should not be remembered anyway. So what sense does it make to continue to live in something and allow something that was not good for us to be in our future? What sense does that make? So it's like, why not have hope for the future, knowing that it's probably going to be better because whatever was in the past sucked anyway, and anything is probably going to be better than that? Why not have a little bit of hope instead of having the fear and the sadness and the depression hold us back and attach us to something that just simply wasn't good for us? And so you have to sometimes listen, or not have to, you always have to listen and believe and have faith in God that he's leading you to something better instead of cleaving to something that you know for a fact wasn't necessarily good for you. Now let's go ahead and get into the story of Lot.
The Relatable Christian will be right back after this short break. You may be a divorcee, a widow, a one-night stand, a woman that has never been married, or a woman who became a mother through an unplanned pregnancy. It does not matter. What does matter is today. Today is a new day. Yesterday is gone and passed away. And with every renewing day, you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself. But the key is stepping into your future and letting go of the past. Hi, my name is Dr. Sophia Reed, and that was just a short excerpt from my book, Fix It Jesus for Single Moms Only, the straightforward, no-nonsense guide to passion, purpose, and prayer. This 30-day devotional is an Amazon bestseller and is available on Kindle, Amazon, and also through audiobook. I created this book specifically for single moms because it is dedicated to your journey as a single mom and living the best life possible, the one that God has for you. Don't continue to stand in condemnation because you are a single mom. God does not view you as inadequate, and therefore you no longer need to see yourself as such. Today is a new day. It is time to step forward into the life and the purpose that God has for you. And also, don't forget to visit my website where you can get the accompanying workbook and video for the book.
So when we get into the story of Lot, there's one thing that I feel like y'all are going to know where I'm leading on this, because God specifically told Lot and his wife not to look back when it came to the burning of Sodom and Gomorrah, and if they did, they would turn to stone. But I want to back up to the events leading up to that and how that relates to your past. So first, let's go into Genesis 19, verse 15. Because ultimately, Sodom and Gomorrah was an evil place. This can be a metaphor for your past. Not saying that your past is evil, but we know it's a place that you don't need to be. You don't need to stay. God wants to destroy it. Whatever the case may be. God wanted to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and he wants to pull Lot, or AKA you. He wants to pull you out of that situation, and he wants to destroy and burn the past so that you can't even look at it, see it, think about it, or nothing. That is destroyed. So when we go into verse 15, it says, when the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here and go, or you will be swept away in the city of punishment. Stop. If you continue to stay in the past, because mind you, let's parallel Sodom and Gomorrah to your past, you will be swept away with it. That is where you will stay, and you will be burned up just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Not literally, but figuratively, because that's where the past is. You can't change it, so you will run yourself ragged, round and round and round and round in circles, trying to change the unchangeable, trying to live in something that's unlivable, allow it to affect you, and you will allow it to consume, and you will allow it to destroy you. Now let's go on to the next verse. But Lot hesitated and lingered. The man took hold of his hand and the hand of his wife and the hand of his 2 daughters, because the Lord was merciful for Abraham's sake. And they brought him out and left him outside the city to his family. So sometimes in a situation where God is trying to tell you that you need to move into your past, in this situation, he was merciful and he grabbed them by the hand. Yes, he might grab you by the hand and he might lead you out. And there are certain situations where he might push your behind out. He might make the situation so bad that you don't have no choice but to leave. He might literally do something that you don't have no choice but to leave your past behind. And now you're sitting up there thinking that it sucks. But see, what he's trying to say is, this is for your own good. I am leading you out of this situation because I know if you stay here, you are going to perish. So I need to shake up your world and do whatever it is that I need to do. I need to tear out whatever I need to tear out and pull you away from that man, that job, those people, that situation, that place, that home, that community, that church, whatever the case may be. I need to tear you away from that, because if you stay, you will perish. If I have told you and you don't see it, I need to tear you away from it, because there's a disconnect and there's something that you are not getting. You are stuck in a place that he does not want you to be in. And so then, when they had brought them out of the city, the angel said, escape for your life. Don't look back or stop anywhere and enter into the valley. Escape to the mountains of Moab, or you will be consumed and swept away. So how many times is this a situation where it's like, okay, I want to leave the past behind me. I want to forget about all these things that have happened to me. I want to forget about all these issues. I want to break up with this boyfriend. But that moment that you answer the phone, you answer that text, you give just a little, all of a sudden you are sucked back in right where you were, right back to the person or the thing that you were trying to leave behind. Sometimes people think that it is harsh for us to want to, like, if there's a situation in the past or even a person, more so with the person that God is telling us to leave behind, sometimes we think just because we're a Christian, we need to allow them to come back in our lives over and over and over again. And we look back, look over our shoulder, and we, touch them, call them, answer that phone. And then when we're pulled back into the same exact spot, we wondering why we got here. That's because God told you not to look back. He told you to keep going and move forward and don't glance, not even to your side. Don't even make eye contact with it. If you know something is destructive and it has caused you destruction in the past, yes, forgive. That's what we are supposed to do. But that don't mean that you need to stay there, get sucked back into there, continue to look at it and engage with it, knowing what has already happened, because once again, once you do, you will get swept away and it will consume you and it will keep you from moving forward. And some people stay in this cycle, especially when it comes to relationships, for years and years and years at a time. That new king, like we saw in Samuel, is awaiting for you, but you can't go to that new king because you keep looking back in Sodom and Gomorrah, going in circles all around, keep looking back at this person when you know how it's going to end. The past has told you how it's going to end. You know what this situation is like, but instead of going forward, you just keep staring at it like something is going to change, and it's not. Why? What sense does that make? God is like, yo, move forward, and you're like, but I'm a person of God. Let me just call and make sure they're okay. No. Can you imagine if the city was burning and Lot was running back in there? I just need to make sure. No, he would have been turned to stone and he would have died too. God told you to move on. That's not unkind. That's what he's telling you to do for you, right? And so if we go on.
Don't go anywhere. The Relatable Christian will be right back after this last commercial break. Hi, my name is Dr. Sophia Reed, the author of the amazing Christian lifestyle blog, Sophie-sticated.com, and I'm here to tell you about my book for Christian single women, Fix It Jesus for Single Women Only, the straightforward, no-nonsense guide to dating, relationships, and self-improvement. How many of you feel frustrated with God because you have not met the one yet, or because you keep getting into bad relationships? How many of you are just sitting, wishing, hoping, thinking, and praying that the day comes until you get married, and with each passing day, you sink deeper into depression because you're still single? Well, no more. If this sounds like you, this book is for you, because it is the most honest, funny, and amazing Christian books for single women that you're going to read. Through 30 amazing chapters, each handcrafted for you and the issues that you face as a single Christian woman, this book is unlike any other that you've read before. Available in audio, paperback, and ebook. To buy, all you have to do is go to my site, Sophie-sticatedmom.com, shop my store to see all of my products, and there you will see my book specifically for single women. Pick yours up today.
So then we're going to go down to verse 26. And mind you, this is after the situation in which God decided to pass judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah, and he decided to rain fire and brimstone and stuff. And so to me, this is like a parallel. Like I said, sometimes God will shake things up to remove you from the situation. He has to make it so uncomfortable so that you don't continue to go into foolishness, right? So here we have a parallel of what will happen between somebody who moves forward and continuously decides to move forward versus somebody who wants to sit up here and look back. Mind you, they already knew the directions from the angels. Now, you could be hearing God's voice and you know what God wants you to do and you ignore it. But in this specific instance, angels literally came face to face to them and told them what they're supposed to do. But either way, God has probably told you what you're supposed to do, and you can actively choose to ignore it, or you can actively choose to listen to it. Because sometimes we just think, oh, I know better than God, or let me just try this one time. Or sometimes we're not sure if God is speaking, or sometimes we just blatantly try to tell ourselves that God is not saying what he is saying, and we want to do the opposite. And we have to also understand that there's repercussions for that. So if we go to verse 26, but Lot's wife from behind them, foolishly. That's why he called her foolish, because he already knew what was supposed to happen. She already knew what she's supposed to do. She already knew the repercussions of disregarding what she was supposed to do. So yes, at this point, you are foolish. And longingly look back towards Sodom, an act of disobedience. So when you continuously go back to the past, because if you remember the first verse that we said, why are you pondering and longing on the past? I am trying to do a new thing, move forward. So if you refuse to do that, yes, you are in disobedience because you're not listening. And then you're being foolish because you are actively doing a wrong thing, knowing that is bad for you. And the reason why you know that is because the past has already told you that is bad for you. And then she became a pillar of salt. So in your particular situation, God is probably not going to be so harsh as to make you into a pillar of salt. But you also have to understand that in all situations, you reap what you sow. If you are continuously being disobedient and doing something and pulling yourself to the past, and you actively know that God is telling you no, stop, move forward, then you're going to reap the consequences of the actions that you have sown. You cannot stay around people that are unhealthy, that God is trying to pull you away from, that God is telling you no, that he is telling you to move forward. You cannot still actively do that and still think that you're going to reap the abundant blessings and all this, that, and the third that God has for you when he has already told you that no, move on. Just like he said with Samuel. How would that look if Samuel was like, no, we can have two kings. I can have both. I can stay here. No, that doesn't work like that. You can't sit up there and be in and be out. You can't be hot and lukewarm. You can't be cold and lukewarm. Either you're going to be hot for God, just like the Bible verse says, I would rather you be hot or I'd rather you be cold. But lukewarm, that makes me mad. You can't choose and be in and out and all wishy-washy and, oh, I want to follow God, but I still want to stay stuck down here. I want to believe and I want to believe he has a future for me, but maybe I might go back in the past and maybe just this one more time. That might be that one time that you're behind as a pillar of salt. That one time that your act of disobedience will cost you your blessing. That one time that God has said, you know what, I've had enough, your blessing is gone. That one time where he is completely over your crap and he's going to let you sit in your nonsense and your blessing is going to go to somebody else. That one time that he's just going to let you sit in the past and burn with Sodom and Gomorrah because you are doing way too daggone much and you refuse to listen and now you want to stay in your foolishness. Are you going to allow the past, what has happened to you, what people has done to you, all of these situations, are you going to allow it to cost you your future? What sense does that make? Sometimes people feel like, oh, but I can't help it. I can't control it. You can. You can. Yes, it might hurt. Yes, you might have emotions and all this, that, and the third, but so what? You still move forward and eventually you'll get over it. You don't think that Samuel felt some type of way when he was leaving Saul, that he didn't have fear that he was going to be killed? Yeah, he felt some type of way, but at the end of the day, he was still obedient to God and he still did what he had to do, and that was that. If you trust that God is going to take care of you and there is something in the future, you trust that the emotions that you have regarding the situation are only temporary and you'll build a bridge and get over it. So whatever you have gone through in the past cannot continuously be an excuse for why ... And fill in the blank, because a lot of people have a lot of ... as to why the past is causing them to... And God is sitting up there looking at you like, okay, but you have a choice to move forward. I'm with you. I'm already in the future. I done already prepared a new place for you. I done already do this, that, and the third, but you just want to stay in one spot and sit there and wonder why you're not getting anywhere when you're just sitting there in the past in that one spot and you're sitting there. That's not why you're not getting anywhere, because you refuse to move. Don't be that person. So if you are a person consumed by the past, think about what that is and think about how you can move on. That's the only thing that I can say in short. I know it sounds easier said than done, but trust me, when you do, you'll feel a whole bunch better. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to stay tuned after the video, because you'll find out where you can follow me on social media, and also go to my website and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys another day, another time. Bye, y'all.
Now here's an excerpt from my YouTube channel as it pertains to this topic.
If you are sitting up there not following the will of God and you're like, why God, why isn't this working out for me? It's because you out of order and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And now God is like, I have to turn my hand against you because I have to teach you a lesson. It's just like the Bible verse says, it's like God punishes a son whom he delights. Never would you condone a child stepping out of your will, even the child may not know I'm doing something wrong, but that's why you punish them, to let them know. So you might not even know that you are not in alignment with God's will. You just know that stuff is going haywire in your life, and you feel like, things are working against you, and you're like, but why, God, why? We're going to go over some common reasons as to why. So let's get into the first one. So the first one is because you doubt God and you want to do it your way. So I'm going to read some scriptures from Deuteronomy to get my point across, because this is the point where after the Israelites was wandering around in the desert for 40 years, God was like, yo, here we go, the promised land. And mind you, why was they wandering around for 40 years? But the reason why they was wandering around for 40 years is because they refused to listen to God, and they kept doing the same dumb stuff and making the same mistakes, because really they could have gotten to the promised land within 2 weeks. But because they was like, duh, and they was doing the absolute most and not listening to God, God made them wander around the freaking desert instead of going to the land of milk and honey, because they just refused to listen. So now finally, when he got there, God specifically said to them, and we're going to go to verse 21, behold, the Lord God has set the land before you to go up and take possession of it, just as the Lord God of your fathers has spoken to you. Do not fear and do not be dismayed. However, what did the Israelites do? It says in verse 26, they was basically like, oh, we don't believe that God can do this for us, even though he had told them that you have the land. I'm going to do this for you. But what did they do? They doubted and they feared, right? In verse 26, yet you were not willing to go up and take possession of it, but you rebelled against the command of your Lord God. And so basically they took away their own blessing, because the blessing was already theirs, but because they did not listen to God and they rebelled against God, and they had this seed of stubbornness in them, it says in 32, yet in spite of this word you did not trust, that is, confidently rely and believe in the Lord your God. And the Lord heard the sound of your words, because they were complaining, and he was angry and took an oath, saying, none of these men of these evil generations shall see the good land which I swore solemnly promised to give to your fathers. So basically the blessing was theirs to have, but they doubted God. They was talking mad trash. And then God was like, okay, you know what? Since you don't want to move in the direction that I want you to move, I'm taking the blessing away altogether. And see, a lot of the times we don't necessarily see that we are doubting or we are going against the will of God.
And I love getting up close and personal. And if you want to connect with me and stay updated and get more amazing content, then feel free to follow me on social media. You can follow me on Instagram, where I post additional content as well as stories. Or if you don't have an Instagram, then you can also like my Facebook page, where I also post additional content. If you enjoyed my show and want to donate into my ministry, you can do that at paypal.me/sophisticatedmom on any mobile device or computer. Not ready for the show to end? It doesn't have to. You can head over to my site, where you can read hundreds of articles. And also you can feel free to shop my store, where I have all of my products for sale. And last but not least, for even more video content, feel free to visit my YouTube channel, where I talk about a wide array of content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, stay blessed.